welcome to Vintage Hollywood Archive. Life is a game of chance, and everyone plays in their way. Some are lucky, and others are not. But for great pop singer Connie Francis, it is a complicated scenario because she had to swim through her fears, dangers, and even tragedies to get a name for herself in the entertainment scene. Her lifelong struggle and personal heartbreaking tales add together to make her the resilient soul that she is amidst a series of terrifying moments. Aging with grace, she is grateful, transcending from a life of danger and glamour to peace and quietness. Make sure to watch the video till the end, and if you're new here, don't forget to join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Vintage Hollywood Archive channel. Although we all have different life stories, some happenings are better imagined than experienced. Almost everyone dreads shocking stories, more so when it comes from a unique musical talent with a globally appreciated vocal prowess like Connie Francis, diagnosed with manic depression, had a miscarriage, plus 4 failed marriages, just to mention a few. The greater part of her career life was bedeviled with intrigues and challenges that did not just define themselves as career hurdles, but would become life-threatening events. Luckily, she was able to pull through, and today lives to tell her story of unmatched greatness with those usual wits and sagacity she is akin to. At the time enemies struck in her life, not even her overbearing father believed she could still make it big in life. But she says her inner spirit did not fail. It kept her going even when the going got tough. After toiling for years recording singles that couldn't rank on the charts and ending like a joke, Connie got her big break with a single titled Who's Sorry Now? The question her fans were hoping to answer when they bought 1.5 million copies and gave her instant stardom. Those who followed her trend would remember Stupid Cupid and Lipstick on Your Collar, which also took charge of the airwaves, a legacy that generations would remember her for. Her hard-won success did not come on a platter of gold. Connie proved her talent as a remarkable soloist, with records that have sold over 100 million copies worldwide within her long career. She made stunning history with record-breaking accomplishments. Data available showed that in 1960, Connie Francis became the most successful female artist in countries like Germany, Japan, the UK, Australia, Italy, and several other regions where her songs were being sold. Did you also hear that Connie was the first female in history to touch #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 with just 1 out of her 53 all-time career hits? That is the success story of this wonderful lady. An epic media publication described her as the first lady of rock and roll. But this beautiful soul had a lot of regrets in life, things she couldn't do for herself and the ones she was prevented from doing. It's more like a sad story told by a heroine after making a great triumph. Her glamorous life was impacted when she was faced with a violent assault, the killing of her younger brother, plus a loss of her heart desire, her greatest love interest, and other circumstances that followed. But she overcame all victorious. Now in her mid-80s, Connie thought it was not wise to continue to keep secret some of the events that defined her tragic moments in life. The reason she has revealed some of her shocking intimate details, especially the one with the man she described as the love of her life, songwriter Darin. From how Francis Connie's overbearing Italian-American father prohibited her from sticking with him, Darin, to how she once opened a door to find this same fellow in bed with 2 call girls. Hollywood scriptwriters couldn't have gotten it better if it was fiction. But it happened. Though she could not wait to listen to his explanation, she still remembers Darin saying that it was not just bad timing, but a setup by a mastermind that he thought must die. Like one who thinks she has seen it all, Francis Connie's life was somewhat immersed with street gangsters because she was raised around them. The close affinity with the mobs was equally deadly because it led to the murder of her brother-turned-informant in 1981. It was also her smart instinct as one who interacted with the mobs that made her discern danger as soon as she could. That was what she employed to save Don Rickles from a mob attack because he made a joke about a mobster's date. Connie's angelic voice may have given her more fame, but ties with gangsters caused her terrible pain that eventually affected her life and career. What about her habit? Connie enjoys winning for the same reason she once kept Frank Sinatra behind, because she was on a reel playing blackjack in Vegas, where she was delighted about her $35 win. It was a great delight to watch teenage Connie performing on NBC's Startime Kids program, a show she did for 3 years before it ended in 1955. Thereafter, she went through a tough time developing herself as a solo artist. She almost lost faith in music when all of her singles failed initially and was about to take on a scholarship to join New York's university when Who's Sorry Now broke the jinx and launched her into commercial prominence. She had described it as a cosmic and unforgettable moment of her life. Connie appreciated the effort and passion her father, George Francanero, had to show towards making his daughter a hit, but she did not quite enjoy some of his decisions. She did not feel the usual pain and struggle that ladies in show business had to undergo because her father was handy to protect her. Though she still believes that some of his choices were very old-fashioned and extremely protective, he did not allow her to have male friends while in high school, nor would he allow her to go to parties. Most remarkable was how he hurriedly ended her romantic affair with a man she loved when she was 19 years. The report was that George learned that she was planning to elope with Darin and be out of his reach, but before they could complete their move, he stormed Connie's dressing room and scared Darin off his wits by chasing him with a gun. The young lovers had no choice but to remain apart, but continued to communicate with each other through letter writing within the period until other things took over. But she had continued to cherish him several years after. Connie passionately talked about Darin as one who had almost everything she wanted in a man: charisma, talent, and intelligence, which he embellished with a huge sense of humor. Connie, who was married 4 times and all ended in divorce, was disheartened when the news got to her in 1973 that Darin died of a heart ailment. "I never felt quite the same about anyone the way I still feel about Bobby to this day," she was quoted. Connie Francis, an American top female vocalist, was born Concetta Rosa Maria Francanero in Newark, New Jersey, in 1937 to an Italian-American family, George and Ida Francanero. Childhood in the Crown Heights, Brooklyn area, and later in New Jersey within the Italian Jewish community, Connie was well integrated with the local culture and socialization of her locality, the reason she had enough ties with the Italian mafia men, including learning to speak Yiddish fluently. I remember she made a song in Yiddish and Hebrew languages. But then her father ensured that young and beautiful Connie participated regularly at talent contests and pageants and related events within the locality at a tender age as a singer and accordion performer. She filled her education at Newark Arts High School until her parents moved to New Jersey, where she graduated as a salutatorian from Belleville High School. As a teenager, Connie continued to perform at neighborhood festivities that would occasionally be aired on television with the name Concetta Francanero as she deems fit. But to make her name easier to pronounce, Arthur Godfrey advised her to take up the stage name Connie Francis during his talent scout preparation. Godfrey was also credited for telling Connie to forget about the accordion and focus on her vocal talent. Now she was ready to explore her talent, but it was not an easy journey, as she had a lot of things to grapple with, including her love life, especially Darin, who was influenced out of her life when she needed him most. Darin and Connie met when Darin's manager organized him to assist write songs for her. Starlet singer and songwriter Darin differs on certain career options, but it did not stop them from bonding emotionally. Their love grew more passionate, attracting the wrath of her strict father, who usually would come in uninvited and separate the couple as possible. But when he heard about a move by Darin eloping with Connie after one of her performances, he got so infuriated and did what he did to ensure that he never returned to her again. Things went sour between the two, though they saw each other only twice thereafter. They met when they were coincidentally billed to sing together for a television program, and another during her focus on the TV series This Is Your Life. And sooner, she heard that Darin had married Sandra Dee. She explained how she was with her father in a car entering the Lincoln Tunnel when the information was announced by a radio disc jockey. Mr. George, she recalled, had made an uncomplimentary remark about him being finally out of the focus by marrying another girl. Her anger and frustration were unimaginable, as she wished the river under the Lincoln Tunnel would just kill her and her father as punishment for that, as she later revealed. Why? because she thought not marrying Darin was her biggest life mistake. Through her memoir, Among My Souvenirs, The Real Story, Connie Francis narrated how she had gotten a call a particular night from Darin's friend Charlie, telling her that Darin was in distress and needed her attention at his hotel room. At the time, he'd sent parking Sandra, his wife, returning her to Los Angeles when he discovered she wasted $35,000 gambling. Even though they were separated a long time ago before he married Sandra, she hurriedly rushed down to his hotel room. She said she could not have been more eager to reach a destination than she was to get to Darin's room that night. Perhaps to be with him and comfort him, which was something she'd always done. On getting to the room, she draped lightly on the door to his suite. And both of them were shocked when the door was opened, because he was caught off guard as she stared intently at him in the compromising position with the ladies. Speechless. "So glad to see your mojo is still working," she said mockingly, and for want of something to say. Expectedly, saddened Connie made a mad dash down the corridor with Darin yelling after her to wait. She thought it was not necessary anymore to exercise her sympathy, even as his loud voice could have attracted huge coronary. While their passion was active, 20-year-old Darin had written several letters expressing his passionate desire to his then 18-year-old Connie Francis. How valuable are those letters? Connie held them dear to her heart, the reason she would not part with any of them even after auctioning off dozens of her glamorous gowns, stylish purses, shoes, and related keepsakes. She regretted that her father forbid her from marrying Darin because of his personal interests against her will, otherwise she would have been with him. "My father was so controlling, he didn't even allow me to attend senior prom," she wrote. Connie's issues with her father are more like the proverbial father and daughter of the same kind, because while she lamented of how he denied her of true love, she would not blink an eye to applaud Mr. George for his career exploitations and success in life. No wonder she ironically dedicates her book to her father amidst the love-hate relationship that permeated their togetherness. "I can never forgive him for putting me in more than one mental institution. I was misdiagnosed as bipolar. But I have to admit he was the architect of my brilliant career," she paradoxically stated. But make no mistake about that, her father's impact affected her negatively on several occasions. Her father's opinion when she had an unfortunate life-threatening encounter with a knife man in 1974 will suffice. She recalled how the attacker had shouted at her, "If you scream, I'll kill you," after she performed at the Westbury Music Theater. To her dismay, her father's reaction further terrified her and impacted negatively her opinion of herself. After she was rescued, taken to the hospital, and questioned by security agencies, she was left with her father in a car, heading home alongside Aunt Marie. She recalled her father saying what she described as incredible words she would never forget. He had told Marie that it's a good thing she's married to a guy like Joe. She thought her father meant that he could never be proud of her again. Is this also the reason Connie described her life as full of regret? "I wasted a lot of time and emotion on things that were not important," Connie says. She was married first to Dick Canellis, a media agent and show director in Aladdin Hotel. Their union was brief. In 1971, she got entangled with Izzy Marion, a hair salon owner, but that one ended within months. She was in for her third marriage with Joseph Garzilli, and it became her only marriage that was up to a year before separation. Joseph was a travel agency entrepreneur. It was with Joseph that she adopted an infant boy, Joey. The union ended in a 1977 divorce. Not even her union with TV producer Bob Parkinson in 1985 could survive the divorce harmer, as the duo parted just like the earlier marriages. With all the marital disappointment, one can understand why she talked about Darin being her soulmate and the one that should have filled the vacuum in her heart. Connie Francis's life was mixed with street gangsters. What made Frank Sinatra's mob connections unique? Let's find out from this video.